I've enjoyed tuning into your services the last 3 weeks, and I appreciate having this time to share CCCA's story with you. I know the UUNB family has a great respect for nature and Mother Earth, and you share a sense of commitment similar to CCCA's to protect the precious natural world we live in. Your seventh principle, respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part, says it all. Jan asked me to talk about what CCA is trying to accomplish and why we are involved in this work. And I thought I'd start by sharing a little background about the group because it speaks to the why and the how. It seems like it was about 5 years ago that the development in the county ramped up to the point that people started talking about it whenever they got together. Everyone was noticing how much land was being turned into developments. Somebody needs to do something about this, is what people kept saying. We learned that Comal County was the second fastest growing county in the nation. I think it still is. And we watched as farms and ranches disappeared. And we watched the bulldozers clearing land and wondering, when is this going to stop? And what if it doesn't stop? People also wondered if there would be enough water for all the families who would be moving into these new homes, and what kind of damage would be caused by so much development over the aquifer recharge zone. And we wondered if anyone had a master plan to make sure Comal didn't turn into a wall-to-wall subdivision, but there weren't any answers. Around that same time, some very wise and aware leaders in the Comal League of Women Voters, the Hill Country Alliance, and the Greater Edwards Aquifer Alliance got together to try to figure out what they could do to help Comal County deal with this rapid growth. These three wise women decided to present a pair of conferences for Comal residents addressing the topic of planning for growth. The conferences drew almost 200 people. Some of you were probably there. Clearly, residents were concerned about seeing the bulldozers clearing our beautiful hill country landscapes and were eager for some advice on what to do. The goal of the conference, I'd say, was to start a conversation, to get people thinking about what was at stake, and hear about what kinds of actions had worked in other areas. Speakers from conservation groups and neighboring communities told their stories and made the point that citizen involvement can make a difference. The conferences were a huge success and very thought-provoking. On one hand, it was inspiring to hear speakers talk about land and water preservation projects going on in neighboring counties. And on the other hand, it was very discouraging to hear the growth predictions for Comal and to hear the county engineer explain that the county had no authority to regulate it, not even to make sure some trees remained on the property. At the end of the second conference, the organizers put a clipboard in the back of the room and said, anyone who wants to help work on this issue, please sign up and we'll see what we can do. That was November 2017. And the next month, our small band of thoughtful, committed citizens, as Margaret Mead might have called us, started meeting with the hope of figuring out how to make sure some land was preserved in the midst of all the development. By May 2018, they had developed a mission statement, created goals and objectives, selected a name, elected officers, and ponied up the $25 to register as a nonprofit with the state of Texas, and we became the Comal County Conservation Alliance. I have to give Jency Madden all the credit for leading the group through these formation steps so efficiently. The effort was fueled by the desire of concerned citizens who didn't want to see our community lose all the farms and ranches and open space that reflect the character and the values of Comal's people. They hope to save the important natural resources that define Comal and have drawn people to this area for ages. The group's actions were shaped by a love and respect for nature and a sense of stewardship. And I'm thinking Margaret Mead would be very proud of us. Okay, so let's take a more detailed look at what CCCA is trying to accomplish. As Yesenia mentioned, our mission is simply working to preserve land, water, and wildlife in Comal County. We define this work with 5 goals. 1, preserve natural areas in order to protect water, wildlife, our rural heritage, and night skies for future generations. This has to last. 2, reduce flooding by preserving open space and critical watersheds. 3 is increase recreational opportunities and protect our tourism economy by providing healthy natural areas. 4 is helping families protect and preserve their land legacies. This goal applies to the ranchers and farmers who have been here for multiple generations, but are finding it more and more difficult to keep their properties intact. And 5, the fifth goal is broadening community support for funding land preservation in Comal County. So we've got a pretty full objective, pretty full agenda, right? How is CCCA going to accomplish all that? Well, this is obviously not a job for a 10-member board or even for our 40 active volunteers. It's going to take a village, as they say. But you know, everyone who enjoys and appreciates spending time in nature is part of this village. There's a quote that goes something like, people need to understand something in order to appreciate it. And only if they appreciate it will they protect it. You've probably heard that before. So that's where CCCA is starting. We're helping our community understand the value of our natural lands and the threat they're under. It goes way beyond saving the scenic beauty that Comal is known for. We're trying to help residents understand the importance of our aquifers and how they work, and understand how protecting land protects our water resources, and how chopping up a 500-acre parcel of land into 1,000 home sites reduces wildlife's access to food and shelter. We're explaining how important spending time in nature is to our health, our mental, physical, and emotional health, and the myriad of other benefits open space and natural areas provide us, like cleaning the air, cleaning our drinking water, providing places for recreation and quiet reflection. Now that's a lot to grasp and a lot to understand, but how can we not appreciate all the things nature does for us after we do understand that? So understanding how important preserving land is to each of us as individuals and to all of us as a community could lead Comal toward becoming a village with what we like to call a conservation mindset. Sort of like the Keep Austin Weird motto, we could embrace a Keep Comal Green motto. And many people speaking together have a loud voice. We've been at it for 3 years now, although last year doesn't really count because of COVID, but we still have a way to go accomplishing that final step of actually providing some land, water, and wildlife. Our hope is that after Comal's outreach and education work, there will be enough understanding and enough appreciation in the village to create widespread public support for having the county provide more natural areas for the public, areas that provide places where we can all refresh, feel close to nature, and at the same time provide good stewardship of the land. How about more county and city parks and nature trails? That's in the works. A village that has a strong support for that idea might be able to convince its elected officials that it's time for them to take action, time for them to acquire some land for more parks and preserves before it's too late. The issue isn't growth versus conservation, and CCCA is not anti-growth. The issue and the urgency is how to protect land, water, and wildlife while we grow and while there is still some to protect. As we honor and celebrate Earth Month and the interdependent web of life, which we are all a part of, we acknowledge that mankind has a responsibility to provide good stewardship of the natural world and the natural resources that Mother Earth provides. That's what CCCA is trying to accomplish. In closing, I'd like to share a short 4-minute video with you that I think you'll enjoy. Yesenia, is it ready?
Comal County. Whether we just arrived or have been here for generations, we are fortunate to live in a place filled with precious natural areas. People have been coming to Comal County for ages. Many of the people who came here before us were good stewards of the land. They cared for these natural areas and protected them. Over time, individual families donated or sold their property to the city, county, or state so that some of these special places could belong to the people. Others put their land into permanent conservation easements to protect its natural state for generations to come. Protecting natural areas does more than provide us with scenic beauty. The natural landscape provides us clean drinking water, moderates our temperature and cleans our air, protects habitat for wildlife, contributes to our health, and supports our local economy. Because some of our predecessors took action to preserve land they valued, we now have these unique natural features, protected areas, and parks to enjoy. Let's also look ahead and work together to save what we treasure about Comal County before it's too late. It's time for us to protect more of our precious natural areas for the well-being and enjoyment of future generations. It's our turn.
It's our turn.
It's our turn.
It's our turn.
It's our turn!
It's our turn.
It's our turn.
It's our turn.
Yeah.
It's our turn.
It's our turn.
Now it's our turn.
It's our turn.
It's our turn. You know, there's a role for both thinkers and feelers in the work to protect our county's natural areas. And if we work together as doers, we can make a difference and help our village navigate through this transitional time so that we don't lose the very things that we love most about it. I hope you'll go to CCCA's website and sign up to be a friend of CCCA and join the effort to continue this important work. It's our turn. And thank you for the opportunity to join you this morning to celebrate our precious earth.